Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Amani Talks podcast. You're here with your host, Amani, on the podcast where we discuss our Christian-based topics and deepening our relationship with the Lord. All right, so we are back on the podcast, you guys, and I really wanted to start a little mini-series. I was traveling and I was in Syracuse a few weeks ago, and of course, I'm in my home church, and the preacher is preaching about the Samaritan woman, or some people refer to her as the woman at the well. This is an account that we see in the book of John chapter 4. This account for me, when I was being refreshed on it while I was in church, it just reminded me of exactly who God is. I think that the story of the woman at the well just totally embodies who Jesus is to us, what we do, like his transforming power within us, and how that power that he used to transform us is then transferred to other people based on our accounts of our encounter with him. And that's just the entirety of the Christian life. So yeah, I just think that this story is just so good. And I was like, man, there are so many things that I was capturing from that message. And when I'm in church, a lot of times church is what gives me the inspiration for the podcast, which to me just makes sense because church should be giving us inspiration for our lives. And that's why I'm always telling y'all, like, get in church. It's not good enough to just sit at home and, like, get in church, being there every Sunday, because just being there, having someone speak to you, speak the word of life to you, it just inspires you. You should never have amnesia as soon as you walk out of the Sunday morning service, like, oh, well, time to go eat. And now you got amnesia after Sunday morning. Like, the word that you get Sunday, it should be like your refresher. It should be your reset. And it should also be the point into where you're like, okay, I'm going to take what was said today and I'm going to utilize it towards my life. So yeah, we are going to do a 3-part series on the Samaritan woman, or the woman at the well, starting in John chapter 4. So if you're going to follow along with the Bible reading of this 3-part series, you are going to want to read John chapter 4, verses 1 through 42. So I'm giving you guys a little bit of homework. You definitely need to go read that to be able to have context for what we're talking about today. I will be reading some scripture to go along with this 3-episode series, but you want to read it in its entirety because I might not read every single verse. I'm just going to highlight key verses to get to what we are going to be discussing for every episode. So definitely go and read that by yourself. Reading your Bible by yourself is just so important. Don't let anyone give you their context, their understanding of what the word is saying. Make sure that you get it yourself, because the Holy Spirit will tell you things that it might not necessarily tell your pastor. It might not tell your friend. It might not tell me on this podcast. It will reveal very specific things to you. So definitely go read John chapter 4, verses 1 through 42. But we are going to get into the first part of this series, and I've titled this part 1, Go and Reach the Outcast. So let's go and read the scripture to start off with and get into our topic for the day. So we are going to read John chapter 4. We're going to start in verse 5. So he, referring to Jesus, came to a city of Samaria, which is called Sychar, near the plot of ground that Jacob gave to his son Joseph. Now Jacob's well was there. Jesus, therefore, being wearied from his journey, sat thus by the well. It was about the 6th hour. Girl, no, you cannot be here. No, I need to focus. Bye. Go! A woman of Samaria came to draw water. Jesus said to her, "Give me a drink," for his disciples had gone away into the city to buy food. Then the woman of Samaria said to him, "How is it that you, being a Jew, ask a drink from me, a Samaritan woman? For Jews have no dealings with Samaritans." Jesus answered and said to her, "If you knew the gift of God, and who it is who says to you, 'Give me a drink,' you would have asked him, and he would have given you living water." The woman said to him, "Sir, you have nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. Where then do you get that living water? Are you greater than our father Jacob, who gave us the well, and drank from it himself, as well as his sons and his livestock?" Jesus answered and said to her, "Whoever drinks of this water will thirst again. But whoever drinks of the water that I shall give him will never thirst. But the water that I shall give him will become in him a fountain of water, springing up into everlasting life." The woman said to him, "Sir, give me this water, that I may not thirst, nor come here to draw." Jesus said to her, "Go, call your husband and come here." The woman answered and said, "I have no husband." Jesus said to her, "You have said well, I have no husband. For you have had 5 husbands, and the one whom you now have is not your husband. In that you spoke truly." The woman said to him, "Sir, I perceive that you are a prophet. Our fathers worshipped on this mountain, and you Jews say that in Jerusalem is the place where we ought to worship." Jesus said to her, "Woman, believe me, the hour is coming when you will neither on this mountain nor in Jerusalem worship the Father. You worship what you do not know. We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews. But the hour is coming, and now is, when the true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and in truth. For the Father is seeking such to worship him. God is spirit, and those who worship him must worship in spirit and truth." The woman said to him, "I know that Messiah is coming, who is called Christ. When he comes, he will tell us all things." Jesus said to her, "I who speak to you am he." So that's where we're going to end in verse 26. And I want to talk about this first chunk of this story of Jesus speaking to this Samaritan woman. First of all, let's talk about who this woman was. We already know that she's a Samaritan. You have to go back and read a lot of the Old Testament to understand why the Samaritans and the Jewish people, the Samaritans were a part of the Jewish people, I believe, but you have to understand why this caste of people, the Samaritans, were outcasts to Jewish people. So we know that she's a woman, we know that she is Samaritan, and we know that she's a woman of ill repute. Jesus said to her, "Yeah, you've had 5 husbands, and who you got in your house right now ain't even your husband." So very clearly, this woman is an outcast. She is kind of a social pariah. Just the fact that she is out in the middle of the day drawing water from the well. If you know anything about the Middle East, you know it's hot. Even in modern times today, the Middle East really thrives at night. They have night markets that go into the hours of the night because people don't really do business during the afternoon because that's when the sun is highest in the sky. That's when the temperature is up. It gets so hot there that you can't just be out in the middle of the day. They will go out in the morning or at night. So the fact that this woman is drawing water in the middle of the day tells us that she is a social outcast, because why would she not be drawing water in the evening or in the morning when the other women did it? We know that women were the ones that drew water for the most part. We see stories in the Old Testament, Isaac and Rebekah. When Isaac's servant went out to go find a wife for Isaac, when Isaac's servant went out to go find a wife for him, he saw women drawing water at the well. Rebekah was out there drawing water, and he was like, "Lord, let the person that is supposed to be the husband or the wife for Isaac be the one that says, I will give you water and everyone with you and also your camels." So we know that drawing water was a woman's job. In Exodus with Moses, he ended up finding his wife because I think her and her family, her and her sisters were out drawing water, and there were men trying to mess with them. I don't know what they was trying to do, child, but they were messing with them. And Moses kind of drew the men off and rescued them. So there are just several accounts that we realized that drawing water was kind of like a woman's thing, right? So the fact that she's not out with the rest of the women drawing water at a more appropriate time says to me that she did not want to be with them because they was probably making fun of her. They were probably gossiping about her. "Oh, you know her. She over here got 4 or 5 husbands. She's shacking up." The way that we gossip about people right now. They probably were mean to her. They probably didn't want to help her. They probably wanted nothing to do with her. And she was like, "I don't got to deal with this. I will go and draw water in the middle of the day when ain't nobody out here to make fun of me." So, just the fact that she's alone, she's in the middle of the day drawing water when it was not the appropriate time for her. We know that she was just not only an outcast to the Jewish people, but just an outcast in her own community as well, because they're in Samaria right now. Her own people wanted nothing to do with her because of her life in sin. She's living in sin pretty much. And I know that it's normalized today for us to shack up with boyfriends and have sex before marriage. That was not the norm back then. The fact that she even found multiple men to even marry her, that says to me wow, that's surprising. Even though I'm not really sure if marriage in this context was the men that she's had sex with and have lived with her or actual husbands. I'm not really sure. So this is the context for the woman that Jesus is speaking with. First of all, back in these days, you would never catch a religious leader talking to a woman in public. Jesus at this time was a religious leader. He had disciples. He had people following him. It's crazy for him to even be speaking to a woman in public by himself to begin with. It's even crazier for him, once again, to be a Jewish religious leader, to be speaking to a Samaritan. That's why she says, what verse is it? In verse 9, she says, how is it that you, being a Jew, ask a drink from me, a Samaritan woman? For Jews have no dealings with Samaritans. So even she acknowledges, like, she's shocked, like, what? This is not the norm. Jesus is really breaking societal norms by talking to a woman and going across those Jew-Gentile lines and talking to a Samaritan at that. And in this simple exchange that we look at as simple, really back in those times was revolutionary. And I think I did an episode a few months ago talking about how Jesus is a girl dad, how God is a girl dad, because I think a lot of people look at Christianity as really oppressive towards women. Oppressive where? When we see that Jesus himself, the founder of our faith, the finisher of our faith, went out of his way to go against what people would tell him, don't speak to women in public. And he's like, no, this is my child. I'm going to speak to her. There are so many times that we can look at accounts of Jesus going against religious norms, societal norms, cultural norms, to show that there is no partiality in the body of Christ. He is no respecter of persons. There is no greater than, less than with him. We are all equal to him. In a society to where classism, sexism, even religious standards and boundaries were so great, you didn't go against those things because you would be an outcast like her. You know how they say, like, bring back shame, bring back bullying, bring back shame because people don't know how to act. I mean, this was that cultural norm of, yeah, you were shamed. You were a pariah. People did not talk to you. You broke these societal norms. There was no going back. People wanted nothing to do with you. And we see Jesus going out of his way to speak to women, to reveal himself to women, to heal women, to touch women. That was not the norm back then. Before feminism was accepted in society, before we had this push for equal rights for women, Jesus was already giving equal rights to women. And that's just so revealing of his character, that he loves all. He does not see anyone as less than. And that really speaks to me specifically because I look at the society that we're in today. We might not have social outcasts when it comes to having sex before marriage and having multiple husbands. Shoot, like, you got 9 husbands and you're a celebrity. Elizabeth Taylor, how many times did she marry? So that's not really judged harshly whatsoever in today's society. I mean, if this woman had 5 to 6 bodies today, that's low. I know people that 15, 20, 30. And they talk about it and they brag about it, So that's not really what we see as the edge of society or people that we don't want to mingle with or talk to. So who do we consider to be our social outcasts of today? If this portion of our 3-part series is talking about go and reach the outcast like Jesus did with this woman, who are our outcasts? The first thing that came to my mind are the homeless. How many times have we on our day-to-day going out running errands, overlook the homeless? We do it all the time. I do it all the time. There's a USPS by my house. Every single time I go to the USPS, there's a homeless man outside the door. Sometimes it's the same guy, sometimes it's a different guy. And I feel myself sometimes, if I pull up and he's standing outside already, I instantly get irritated because I know they're going to ask me for something, right? Sometimes if I pull up and they're not there, I try to rush inside just so that when I leave out, they're not there. But I'm telling y'all, like, it don't matter how bad I try to dodge homeless people. They're just always there. USPS, CVS, on the street corners, they're asking you for money. And my initial reaction is to immediately turn the other way. Oh, I don't see you. Oh, I'm on my phone. Oh, I'm too busy. I'm sorry. Oh, I don't have the cash. And last week, maybe a couple weeks ago, I remember thinking, why is that my mindset when it comes to homeless people? Why do I feel instantly irritated when I see a homeless person asking me for something? Are these not people too? Why do we as a society treat homeless people as less than just because they lack something physical? And when I really sat with this and I really thought about it from my perspective, or at least for me, I think that we see homelessness as their problem. We look at them and we say, I don't want to give you any of my money because you didn't work hard enough. You're going to spend it on drugs. Drugs is the reason that you're here to begin with. You were lazy. We all need to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. I did it. Why can't you? And when that is our perspective of what makes people homeless, oh, it's your fault that you're homeless. That's why I don't want to help you. That also says that the fact that we are not homeless is because of us. We know that that is not true. If you have strength, if you have a sound mind, if you have any kind of financial provision, that did not come from you. James 1:17 says, every good gift and every perfect gift is from above and cometh down from the Father of lights, with whom is no variableness, neither shadow of turning. Sometimes we tend to think that the only reason that we are not outcasts is because of what we did for ourselves. I know that this false sense of self-sufficiency and self-dependency was definitely my thing. And I've already talked about this area of my life a few times on the pod, specifically in the first half of this year, because I was struggling financially so bad in this first half of the year. And I'm talking so bad that month after month after month, I did not have my rent money. And I would be crying God, why are you letting me struggle like this? You know, I need this money, yada, yada. And the Lord will always come through. But for months, it took me months to realize I'm struggling this bad financially so that I can realize that everything that I have comes from Him. I remember one time I said on my social media, I think it was my TikTok or my Instagram story, and I was like, I'm cute and I'm smart, so I'll never be messed up. I have pretty privilege. I am book smart. I went to college. I will never be in a situation to where I am lacking, because between those two things, oh baby, I am it. And one thing that the Lord had to reveal to me is that I'm not that cute. I'm not that smart, right? Because I was broke. I was broke the first half of the year. So if I was that cute and smart, I wouldn't have been broke, right? And the Lord really revealed to me all things come from Him. James 1:17. If it's good, it came from Him. So while I'm over here thinking that my opportunities with me being a full-time content creator is because I'm so cute and creative and people want to hear me talk, the Lord very quickly humbled me. And that's what happens when you begin to think too highly of yourself. The Lord will humble you. If He's trying to bring you back to Him, that humility is needed. And baby, I very specifically remember being humbled in the way that I had to I remember it like it was yesterday, because I prayed the prayer, Lord, I don't even care anymore. You can take everything that I got, take the car, take the apartment. I remember praying, as long as you just give me a roof over my head, God, that is enough. I totally released all the physical things I had in my life. 100%. I was holding on to them so bad because I felt like the things that I had made me better than the next person. And I think that that's what we feel about homeless people. We are better than them because we have these things, not acknowledging that the only reason I have these things is because of God. So when we fix that mindset, when we get our minds right and correct with humility, and we realize, man, that could be me. It is only by the grace of God and His plan for what He wants to do through me that's not me. I'm just pointing out the reality of, we think that we're so great and that's why we have the things that we have in life. We're not that great. I had to realize that my life experience, my college education, my pretty privilege would not give me the favor in this world that the Lord could give me. His favor goes above and beyond all those things. So why do we look at people that have less than like that's their fault? And because of that, oh, I don't want to be around you. I think we look at homeless people as less than. We look at them as pariahs. We don't want to be bothered by them. We feel like it's their fault that they're in that position because we think that we've done things for ourselves. I really had to readjust my mind. Why do I feel like this? Why do I feel instantly irritated when really I should be glad about the opportunity that they're already where I am? If I'm pulling up the CVS and I see a homeless person there, I should be like, oh, bet I am prepared. I got a Bible tract in my car. I have a few dollars to give to them. Because for real, I think we also think, oh, I'm not going to give to this person because I don't want them spending it on drugs. That's none of your business. You don't know what they're going to spend it on. Let's go to Matthew 25 and start in verse 35. And this is Jesus speaking. For I was hungry and you gave me food. I was thirsty and you gave me drink. I was a stranger and you took me in. I was naked and you clothed me. I was sick and you visited me. I was in prison and you came to me. Then the righteous will answer him saying, Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you drink? When did we see you a stranger and take you in, or naked and clothe you? Or when did we see you sick or in prison and come to you? And the king will answer and say to them, assuredly I say to you, Inasmuch as you did it to one of the least of these, my brethren, you did it to me. Then he will also say to those on the left hand, depart from me, you cursed, into the everlasting fire prepared for the devil and his angels. For I was hungry and you gave me no food. I was thirsty and you gave me no drink. I was a stranger and you did not take me in, naked and you did not clothe me, sick and in prison and you did not visit me. Then they will also answer him, saying, Lord, when did we see you hungry or thirsty or a stranger or naked or sick or in prison and did not minister to you? Then he will answer them, saying, assuredly I say to you, inasmuch as you did not do it to one of the least of these, you did not do it to me. And these will go away into everlasting punishment, but the righteous into everlasting life. So we see the Lord saying that when we minister to people, his creation, we're doing it to him. This is our ministry, to help other people. When he says, when you do it to the least of these, my brethren, he's talking about the outcast. He's talking about the homeless, the people that we walk past every day. Jesus went out of his way to go speak to this woman. In the beginning of that chapter, it talks about he spoke to him while his disciples were out getting food. He made sure that he was alone. He was intentional. Of course, he's the Lord. He knew that she was going to be coming out and getting water. He knew her name before he ever saw her walking up to him. He knew that. We don't always have that information, but what we do know is that it's our job to go out and to be intentional about reaching the outcast. It is our job to clothe the naked, to feed the hungry, to go and visit those in prison, to give medicine and healing to those who are sick while preaching the word. Because we have physical needs. Yeah, this woman is drawing water from the well. She's thirsty. She needs water. She's talking about the physical aspects of her life. He's saying, I will give you living water. A fountain will then spring up inside of you eternally. I'm giving you living water. You will never thirst again. He's talking spiritually. Yeah, we need water. We need food. We're humans. We're on earth. But we need a lot more than that. So when we go out and we try to intentionally reach the outcast of society, reach the homeless, reach the people that we look over and get irritated by and step over every single day, those are the people that the Lord is like, you should be going to these people. When you do it to the least of these, my brethren, you have done it to me. The least. So when we evangelize, and notice I said when we evangelize, it's not an option for the believer. It's your job. It's the whole reason that you are saved and you remained on earth, to go out and make more disciples. When we evangelize effectively, when we evangelize like Jesus, we go to the outcast. We make it our mission to speak to the people that we don't really want to speak to, the people that society brushes away. Those are the people that we should really be focused on. And it's really convicted me like, okay, what am I going to do then? If I'm going to talk about reaching the outcast like Jesus did with this woman at the well, how does that look in my life? For me personally, and I think that this is a good start for any believer, any person, period, when you are going to make an intention, go out of your way to do the Lord's work, which is evangelism, winning souls, making disciples, clothing the needy, and feeding the hungry. When that's your job, you first have to look at, okay, who are these people that lack these resources? When the word says that perfect and undefiled religion is to go visit the widows and the orphans in their time of need, I see over and over again that the Lord specifically tells us to go to people who lack what we have every single day. Go to those who lack something physically. Go to people who the world will look at as outcasts. Make it my mission to minister to those people. And so mentally, I'm making a list. Who are social outcasts to us? Who are people that we feel like we don't want to be bothered by? The elderly, the homeless, sometimes young children, and the poor. And so I'm like, okay, what can I do to help these people? Meals on Wheels. If you guys are looking at my vlogs, tomorrow I'm going to be vlogging about doing more volunteer work. I'm like, okay, what can I do practically in my community? The Lord placed me here for a reason. What can I do in Atlanta to reach the homeless, children, the elderly, and the poor? The elderly, Meals on Wheels. There are so many seniors in our cities that don't have family. Maybe they never had kids. Maybe they had a small family. They outlived their family. They don't have anyone taking care of them. We know that, government assistance sometimes doesn't really help those in need. So what can I do to kind of bridge that gap? Okay, Meals on Wheels. I can deliver meals to senior citizens that really need it. Go and talk to people. While I'm doing that, Bible tracts right in my car. I'm delivering a meal, I can also speak to them about Jesus. I don't know, icebreakers, like little ways that we can sneak some Jesus in there, but be intentional about it. And when I think about kids, I think about mentoring. I'm like, okay, I can kind of hit two birds with one stone if I go into lower income schools and try to become a mentor. I'm looking into doing stuff like that, mentoring like younger girls. When I think about people that are maybe on the poor or homeless side, I can be very intentional with joining organizations that feed them, or in the very simple ways of just not ignoring the homeless people that I see every single day. Why am I irritated when I see homeless people when they're right there? That's easy pickings. Very easily. They're gonna ask me for a few dollars. Yeah, I got a few dollars for you. You're also gonna get some Jesus. You're also gonna have someone pray for you. That's 5 minutes out of your day. It's literally 5 minutes out of your day to make sure that you have a few dollars inside of a Bible tract in your car, so that when you see a homeless person, you give it to them, but you stop and say, what's your name? My name's John. John, I'm gonna pray for you really quick. Lord, please provide John with all his needs, his spiritual needs, Lord. Please let him know that he is loved. A little prayer, nothing crazy. Nothing crazy, but when we start with those very small things of intentional preaching to the outcast, it's only up from there. You can only grow from there. It might start off small, but you never know what the Lord can grow that into. That could become your whole ministry. Somebody could get saved off of that. You just never know how the Lord works with what we see as small intentional acts of reaching the outcast. When we look at evangelism, we have to look at what Jesus did. His effectiveness is the reason that you and I are saved today. So if we want to be effective, we got to look at what Jesus did. Part 1 of this series of the woman at the well, we see that he went out of his way to go reach the outcast. How are you going to do that in your life? What systems are you going to set up very practically in your life to make sure that there are very consistent ways that you reach the outcast? We need to have these very practical plans of what we will be doing to be effective in the kingdom. Without an actual plan set up for some kind of success, it's not that you don't have a plan. Oh, you have a plan. If you don't plan to succeed, you plan to fail. And if I want my life to be effective for the kingdom, I need a plan for evangelism. I need a plan to reach the outcast, just like Jesus did. So I want you all to just sit with this. Think of very effective and practical ways that you can reach all of society with your gifts. We all have different gifts. And the gift that the Lord gave you is your effectiveness. Ask him to reveal it to you. Ask him what he wants you to do, and you get that plan in place. The Lord can't do nothing with you if you don't do it. Okay, so I'm going to end it there. Part 1 of our mini series, our 3-episode series, speaking about John 4 and the woman at the well. I hope that you guys have gained something from this and that you are going to make a plan for evangelism in your everyday life. I will see you guys next week. Love you all. Make sure that you are watching the vlogs. And I have a very special announcement about the Christian Girls trip. I just had my meeting kind of solidifying everything for our 2026 trip. So if you have not already, go ahead and follow the Instagram and the TikTok for Christian Girls trip. I will be uploading a lot more content about the Bali trip, the Morocco trip, and spoilers for our upcoming trip. I still have not revealed exactly where we're going. I hope that you guys are just getting hype and excited about it. The women that came on the Bali trip absolutely loved it. It was an amazing trip. We are going to make this an annual thing, and that's very exciting for me. So yeah, definitely head over to Christian Girls trip on your social media platforms. Definitely go into the bio, into the link tree, and subscribe to the emails as well that I'll be sending out weekly with updates and just motivation for your week. And yeah, so go ahead and do all that. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe to this channel, and I will see you guys later. Bye.